Bass Pro Shops has set the standard in recreational retail, with stores conveniently located throughout the country. Bass Pro Shops, Marine Shops, and Cabela's specialize in providing sports enthusiasts with an experience second to none. But to really appreciate how Bass Pro Shops became a world leader in outdoor retail, you have to know how it started. Founder Johnny Morris's family comes from humble beginnings in the Ozarks of Missouri. His mom, Jenny, grew up with 9 siblings in a 2-bedroom house. And his dad, John A. Morris, was raised mostly by a great aunt. John Sr. was a decorated World War II veteran and even participated in the Battle of the Bulge. And it was John and Jenny Morris that shaped a lifelong love of the wildlife and nature for their son. Both avid quail hunters, they showed young Johnny how to respect nature and appreciate the outdoors and the importance of conservation. It didn't take long before Johnny Morris was hooked.
Every time I get to go fish, I think back. I don't have my mom and dad anymore, but they're with me in spirit. And every time I'm on the water, if I'm fishing, I always think of them. And I think happy thoughts. I think about just times I got to share with them in nature.
In his early 20s, Johnny spent 5 years on the pro bass fishing circuit with a front row seat to the emerging popularity of the sport. That was when Johnny got an idea. In 1972, he started the very first Bass Pro Shop. The first store, it was 8 square feet of space in the back of his father's Brown Derby liquor store. In 1978, Johnny Morris introduced Tracker boats. This revolutionized the boat industry by producing quality boats at very affordable prices, much like Henry Ford did for automobiles. This made it possible for the average American families to enjoy the outdoors in a way that they had never been able to before. Over 40 years later, the innovation continues with the new line of Tracker off-road ATVs and golf carts. In 2017, Bass Pro Shops joined forces with Cabela's. Together, they're among America's most beloved and recognized brands, with more than 200 million visitors annually to stores across North America.
Bass Pro Shops simply would not be if it weren't for one thing, and that's conservation. How we manage our natural resources and look out for the fish and the wildlife.
Morris has dedicated most of his life to preserving wildlife and nature. He's worked with every administration since President Jimmy Carter on conservation efforts.
Good shot.
Johnny has established some of the top wildlife reserves and attractions in the world, including Dogwood Canyon Nature Park, Top of the Rock Ozarks Heritage Preserve and Native American Museum, and the largest conservation attraction in the world, Johnny Morris's Wonders of Wildlife National Museum and Aquarium in Springfield, Missouri.
We call this place Wonders of Wildlife, and we hope to inspire more families to get off their cell phones, get out of their house, get out of the urban areas, and to appreciate, nature and how much family memories can be created from the sports of hunting and fishing.
In 1990, Morris was presented the Teddy Roosevelt Conservationist Award by President George H.W. Bush. And just a few weeks ago, Morris received the prestigious Audubon Medal for his lifetime dedication to conservation and preservation.
There can be no doubt when you study the history that from the days of Roosevelt and Audubon on, sportsmen and women, hunters and anglers, have really been so instrumental in providing the funding and the leadership that has brought back many of the species that we're so fortunate to enjoy.
Many people call Johnny Morris the modern-day Teddy Roosevelt. His #1 mission is leaving nature better for our kids and their kids.
Hey kids, I want to tell you something. If you get a chance to go hunting and fishing, I'd say do it every time you can. It's been my whole life. I have 0 regrets. I loved every minute. The memories I have fishing with my mom and dad when I was a kid, fishing with buddies. I'm getting to be old as dirt, but I still love to fish. It makes me feel like a kid.
The outdoors, nature, and wildlife. It's the fabric of Johnny Morris. It's simply who he is.
The nature that you're immersed in is no accident. It just comes from the guy upstairs, our creator, to be immersed in God's blessings, the outdoors.
The 2019 honoree of the T. Boone Pickens Lifetime Sportsman Award, Mr. Johnny Morris.
How's everybody doing? Anybody here like to hunt and fish? I was kind of counting on there be a lot of you types in the audience tonight or here. Man, it's a special night, and I come here tonight, and I think about really nothing much but my mom and dad. And I want to share a letter with you. I just came across it again today. I looked it up, and it was when Mr. Pickens called me a while back, several months ago, and he told me about this, and he said, "Johnny, would you come here?" And I scribbled him a note the next day, or maybe it was a few days later, but I wrote Boone a note, and I just want to share it with you because it was what was on my mind then, and it's kind of it's on my mind tonight. Dear Boone, received your wonderful letter of July 6th inviting me to the Park Cities Quail Dinner. I read further about the Lifetime Sportsman Award named in your honor. Boone, I just want you to know that this means the world to me, and for many reasons. First, I am honored because of my deep respect for you and the other past recipients of this award, including my friends Ray Mursky and Ray Sasser. Most of all, I am moved deeply by the fond memories this stirs of my mom and dad. And I attached a photo and their genuine love of the sport of quail hunting. They didn't have much money, but it didn't take much for them to be rich in their hearts through their shared love of this great American pastime, this heritage we have in our country, quail hunting. It's with gratitude to them and on their behalf that I am humbly honored to accept the T. Boone Pickens Lifetime Sportsman Award. With grateful thanks, I look forward to being with you soon. So, I was thinking about this too. To be honest, after what happened here in the state of Texas, it's almost 32 years ago now. It was actually on May 5th of 1987, we came and borrowed your state record bass. Her name was Ethel. She weighed almost 18 pounds, and we took her up to Missouri and put her in our aquarium. I really didn't know if I'd ever be brave enough to come back to the state of Texas again in life, let alone be invited to come back. But Ethel lived a long, happy life. Over 19 years, that fish grew to be over 20 pounds. She was a great ambassador for conservation in your Shara Lunker program here in the state of Texas. I think about that, and I think about where you guys are so lucky, and gals. The state of Texas is like a world-class leader. You're not afraid to break out of the box to do things that are great for conservation. I feel the same way about my home state of Missouri. I think Florida rates up there. So I come here tonight. I'm very happy and proud to be with my dear wife, Jeannie, over here. And with my best hunting fishing buddy, my son, John Paul. And I'm really glad JP's here because his very pretty girlfriend came, Kelly. Kelly, thanks for coming. And I look out, and there's some friends at our table, and Richard Childress was saluted, but Chris Jansen mentioned this term, kindred spirits. I got to know Richard quite a few years ago. And Richard, you're a hero to many of us in conservation and just in life in general, how you lead your life, where you've come from, what you do. Thank you for being here. Also at my table is Mayor Bill Tate and his wife, Betty. So I go back a long way with this guy. I was thinking about coming here. Ever since we had our first catalog years ago, Texas is always like #1. You guys love to hunt, you love to fish. So we had a chance. It was like our third store outside Springfield, Missouri. that we built here in Grapevine. And I remember going there to visit, and it was like a cow pasture. And Mayor Tate was walking me around. And he said, John, there's a lot of your customers around here. He said, I don't have any money, much money. I can't chip in on your building fund. But I'll tell you what, he said, I met with the city council, and I've already got approval to change the name. I think it was Bethel Road to Bass Pro Drive. He said, I'll throw that in. And he said, there's going to be a lot of people that see that sign. And you're right, Mayor, and thank you for your friendship all these years. And then a good buddy, Ray Mursky, his wife, Mandy, to be here means so much, and to be with you. And there's several folks from our Bass Pro Cabela stores here, Bill Meglich, Kathy Thompson, and Steve Anaganili. I just thank you guys for all you mean to us and your passion to serve people that love the outdoors. Steve Jones, I ran into him. Pat and Armina Jones are from Springfield, Missouri, Jerry's parents, and they've just been so generous in our community. And Emily Sasser, thank you for being here too. Just being with all of you tonight, and Joe Crafton, what you do with Park City Quail. It's just a happy occasion in life to be here with my family and to participate in this celebration. Boone Pickens, yeah, buddy, you get everybody fired up. One way or the other, but you get us fired up. When Jeannie, and so it all makes it humbling to be here, but I was thinking back about this, when my wife Jeannie and the kids learned that I was going to be somehow receiving an award connected to quail conservation, they all started laughing. And I said, what's so dang funny about this? And they said, Dad, we all know you shot at thousands and thousands of quail and you only plucked a few feathers. I got a dominant left eye. I'm like the world's lousiest shot. It's like generation skipping or something. So Jeannie tells this story. She loves to tell it. She made me tell it or she wouldn't come tonight. So Jeannie and I, with another couple, we went to a resort down south, and they had a sporting clays course. So we go out there, and we had like a guide with us. He's keeping score. And that didn't make me real happy, but Jeannie, she's a crack shot, so as soon as we get in, she goes, how'd we do? She knew dang good and well how we did. So this guy that was a young man from the south, he was our guide, he said, ma'am, he said, I just want to say this. If a boogler breaks in your house, I sure hope you get to the gun vault before your husband does. But that's painful, but that's pretty much the truth. There's more to hunting than just the harvest. Just at the beginning here, I just want to say thanks again. There was two young men that we heard earlier that really set a tone, a very happy tone for tonight. And one is this young man, Jackson Dean, who sang our national anthem. Jackson, beautiful. Jackson came here with his mom and dad, Keith and Elaine Nicholson, all the way from Maryland. And I got to tell you this story about this young man. So I'm watching TV one day, and I hear he sang the national anthem for his high school football team. And it kind of went viral or just went crazy. And so I asked my assistant, Debbie, I said, do you think you could get a hold of Jackson and get him to come to our Bass Pro Company Christmas party in Springfield and see how much, if he's available and what he charges? So Debbie reports back to me, said, Johnny, we got some good luck. He said, she went double good luck. Said, Jackson is a big fan of Bass Pro. He wants to come. And the price is zero. He wants to just come and donate his time. But he said, she talked to his mom. She said, one thing we'd like for you to consider is Jackson feels very deeply about our country and our soldiers and the Patriots. And he is one himself, a young patriot. And he said, if you'd be open to consider a donation to 2 veterans organizations that he supports, then we'd be very grateful. And anyway, I'll try to find a picture here of Jason. Anyway, that's Jackson out on the field. And there's these two organizations that he wanted us to support. One's called Frets for Vets, and the other's Warriors of Events. Anyway, Jackson, we're very grateful to you, buddy, for being here and for being such a fine young man standing up for our country. And while we're at it, there's another person that just been lucky to meet in my life. He's a few hundred generations younger than me, but Chris Chance and his wife Kelly are here. He sang that beautiful song for us, Days in the Field. Every time I hear that from the first time, it cracks me up. And I think, Chris, you are just like our buddy Richard. Use your platform that you have and your talents given from the guy upstairs and from your own heart to inspire so many people and future generations to come to the outdoors. And we thank you. Thank you for being here. How can you look at this image and not be moved, really? To think about, like Jackson, when he sang our national anthem, our America, our USA. It's Old Glory, and all those who have sacrificed everything, including the ultimate sacrifice, so that we can maintain our precious liberties. Our flag should never be used to, in any way, to divide us, but only always to unite us. And tonight, I think these young men, they set us off at 2 of the things that are very important for us, is celebrating our country, the greatest country on earth, America, including our North American model of conservation. It's the envy of the world. There's nothing like it. It's pretty much like many things we have. You can read about things, other forms of government, they sound very tempting. I didn't do good in school. I was blessed to be able to travel around the world and visit different countries. I took my dad to Cuba bass fishing years ago. I was pretty naive, I read about communism, everybody shares, everything's provided, everything's great. Problem is, it doesn't work. And that's the way with many other systems. I met a young man, John Wayne Waldy, on the way in here. Most of you know him, know about him, but John Wayne, thank you. We'll always stand for you, buddy, and beside you. Thank you very much. And to me, what tonight is really all about is what Chris was singing about. Let's see, I got to go back. It's this little boy here, Jesse, Chris's son. All these kids, that's why all of us are here. It's our future. That's what conservation is. It's more than just a trophy buck or a trophy fish. It's some memories that come in time. These are healthy American sports. They bring families together, buddies together, friends together, create these memories that we never forget. As big as that boy was smiling, Kelly and Chris are smiling even bigger every time they see him. I feel tonight coming here so blessed to myself to have grown up with the love of my parents and my family that's here, and to have grown up in this country, because there's just no place like it. There's a few, sorry I get unorganized. This is from my heart, but with a few scribbled notes. So we have several, and I mentioned this earlier, but Texas Parks and Wildlife. It's amazing the job you guys do. And I think Ralph Duggins was going to be here. I don't know if he made it. And your director, Carter Smith. You guys do an awesome job here. You inspire other states all over the country. And I think about this over many years, people in our company, myself, we've really come to realize that nothing, to achieve really great things in conservation, like most things in life, it takes teamwork. And you realize that the state agencies, as great as they are, they can't do this alone, or federal agencies. We have to have regulation, but with regulation alone, you can't achieve a whole lot. We have the great NGOs and all these conservation organizations and like the work you're doing here at Park Cities. But individuals, companies like Bass Pro Cabela's, none of us can make much of a difference till we reach out to each other. And when we do, it's amazing what can happen when you look at the history of conservation in our country. It's all because of all of us, what we can do when we reach out to help each other. I want to go through a little bit of scrapbook personal. But this is my mom and dad, John A. and Jenny Morris. They were born in 1911 in the Ozarks. I grew up in a little town, Willard. And my sisters and I are very lucky because my parents always made it a big priority to take us with them hunting and fishing. My mom and dad, like most of them, and I want to tell this about priorities in life, because my parents grew up, as mentioned in that film, but they didn't have much. My mom was actually one of 10 brothers and sisters, grew up in a two-bedroom house, and my dad just grew up with a really rough way. But my parents, if you ask them, and I think their quality of life, I mean, you think everybody in that generation, no electricity, no running water, there was no TV. Remember my parents talking about getting their first radio and listening to Grand Ole Opry, and just the advancements of phone and seeing the first plane fly over and the first Model T come to town. My parents also talked about from their generation and how they grew up and never seeing like wild turkey and very few white-tailed deer, certainly no buffalo or no elk, that were all native to our state of Missouri. And in their lifetime, they got to see many advancements, so much, technology, man landing on the moon. But they also got to witness the power of conservation and what can happen, how we can all work together, and we can make a heck of a difference. That's what my parents got to see. They became huge fans of the Missouri Department of Conservation. And it's just, they also, hunting was, this is another family scrapbook picture. This is my mom standing on the front porch, and my grandpa noodled this catfish. And so if you know, some of you know down here know what noodling is. You go stick your arm around, hell yeah. So you noodle, and so my Uncle Buck told this story all the time, that Uncle Buck and Uncle Blonde went noodling, and Uncle Blonde went in, and he didn't come up, and he's swirling around, and pretty soon Uncle Buck said, Blonde came up, but all the skin was got off his right arm, so they went up to Grandpa's house, and they told Grandpa what happened. And I got to clean this up, but Grandpa said, we're going to go get that son of a gun. And so they did. And that was my mom standing by that fish that weighed over 100 pounds out of a little creek. And this is me fishing with my mom and dad. And I'm especially, this picture is a picture that I sent Boone when he invited me to come here and told me about this recognition. What's really special about this picture is my mom and dad's passion. So it was one year we drew names out of a hat for Christmas presents for each other. My dad drew my name, and I couldn't wait to see what Dad's going to get me for Christmas. And I said, man, a new truck, new car, something cool. What's this going to be? So what he gave me was this picture that had been hanging around the house for years when I was growing up, and I'm going, oh boy, this is great. On the back of it was this note that I want to share with you now. It means the whole world to me. It said, John L., in this picture are 4 joys of my life. Jenny, your mother. You, my son, 3 months from touchdown. Pat, my best bird dog, and a handful of feathers that made my day. A very Merry Christmas, 1985, Dad. So these are just more, my dad was my hero in life. I don't know if we get back to these pictures, but so my dad gave me his old quail gun. I was showing it off to Hank Jr. here, but my dad gave me this on my 21st birthday, what it meant to me. You can see, this is actually my dad's gun. That thing was so taped up, the stock had electrician's tape to hold it together. At the end of the barrel, he had medical tape to help him get it on the birds. But he was a crack shot, and I can't even imagine how many quail that brought down in the Ozarks. My dad, you know, I remember going with him hunting. Him and his best buddy had 17 bird dogs, and I fed them, and I had to dip them in that damn blue ointment every day, and they'd come out and shake. At the end of the season, they all had a bloody tail. My dad loved quail hunting. And I just another couple of pictures. But you think about some of our real fathers of conservation, really in the world. Audubon. Who was he? He was a hunter, just like President Roosevelt. And their passion, their love for hunting, it immersed them with the animals. And they gained an appreciation, love for the animals and the habitat it took to sustain them. And I really think that's what a lot of people don't know today or fully appreciate. We got to connect people back to our heritage in this country, where we came from. These are just happy memory pictures of our family. This is a long story, but that's Jack Hemingway, Ernest Hemingway's son. He shot all those quail, and I helped him hold some of them up. This is my dad when he got to be older. He used to have pointers, and he got him a couple of Brittany's, and he had a little golf cart he'd drive around there at home, a couple of 100 acres he had. And that's JP, my buddy that's here with me tonight. We were just go out quail hunting with Grandpa. And just fun memories. Here's some Texas. Our buddy Ray Mursky, met him at a bass tournament. Dick Hart, the Athens Fish Hatchery. My son coming down here. He's got some redneck in him, hunting guards. This is me and Ray Scott, the founder of the Bass Angler Sportsman Society, on a tournament down here at Sam Rayburn. Hunting and fishing are both common denominators from people of all walks of life. I got to meet Sam Walton. He used to come in our store in Springfield, greatest merchant in the world, so humble. I never caught him buying a darn thing. He'd come in with a Big Chief tablet, and he'd go down the street to Machino's Hardware. He wasn't the greatest retail in the world, but he'd always look for other ideas. And so I thought about Mr. Sam. He invited me and my sister down to some of Walmart's Saturday morning meetings. He invited me to come quail hunting down here in Texas, the Foul Furious. And I stood him up because I was such a lousy shot. I didn't want to embarrass myself. And also the bass were biting good. But these sports are so great, and so many memories from Texas here. The opening of our store, Governor Bush, and then later President Bush, Mayor Tate, the kids. This has always been, and this is like part of our company too. We start every store opening with a night for conservation. And sometimes too, I get credit for things, being in my position. I get credit for others. But to me, this recognition, it has a lot to do with many people in our company that are very passionate about the outdoors and very committed to give back to conservation. It takes teamwork so much, and there's so many great groups like all of you here, and giving you your time and your money to be here tonight. And I'm sorry I'm rambling on, but we just have a few tokens, appreciation from tonight. We got a good luck and some advertising, a free Bass Pro cap we put in there. And we got passes to Wonders of Wildlife, the museum in Missouri. We hope you come up or bring your kids or grandkids or just come and visit that place. It's getting better now. We got gift certificate for Andy's. You got to take a kid hunting or fishing, but if you can't do that, or do that and then take them for an Andy's treat too. just like those pies we had here tonight. They're real good. And last thing to me, I said this, but from everyone in our company and from our customers, it's our obligation to try to give back to support the future of the sports we serve. And tonight, just really in honor of my mom and dad, from all of us in our company and from our customers, we're very proud to make a pledge to donate $100,000 a year for the next 10 years to support amazing job you're doing. Thank you all very much. Have a big hoop-de-doo.